5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
I don't know. I'll just do it. It's fine.
Yeah, just do it.
We're overthinking this way too much. Hello, and welcome back to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences, the podcast where we recap Cincinnati beer podcasts with our own version of the truth of what we heard on those podcasts. We hope that there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of these other podcasts when we kind of throw in our own wild speculations and rumors about what's happening throughout their podcasts as we go behind the mic, talking about what beer they're drinking, what tap rooms that they're sitting in, and all the fun stuff that goes with it. I am Julia, and I am here with my favorite co-host of all time.
Well, thank you. You're my favorite co-host of Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. I am Marco. Julia, we get together and we talk about these podcasts. What'd you listen to last week?
Last week, I listened to not one, but two episodes of Shift Beers. I listened to Cincy Brewcast, and there really wasn't a whole lot else that happened last week. What about you? What'd you listen to?
Yeah, I listened to those, and then I saw Prost. No, we didn't see Prost.
We did not see Prost.
What's up with that? No. What's up with that?
Someone is slacking on their YouTube duties.
No, but we will talk about the Weekly Pint that happened on the Monday, the
23rd.
23rd. Mm-hmm. We will discuss that. And so, yeah, so we pretty much listen to the same things. Of course, I listen to all the podcasts.
So in tune with a true craft beer podcast, we need to let everyone know what's in our glasses. So, Marco, in Shift Beer style, what you drinking?
Yes, you drinking. Right now, today, at this moment, I'm having Sam Adams 513. It's an American-style lager. Let's see, it's 5.5% ABV from the Boston Beer Company. I'd imagine it's brewed downtown because everything is right next to Truly and Angry
right next
Orchard.
To the Seltzer Factory.
Yeah, the Seltzer Factory.
Quite literally. I have in my glass from 16 Lots Blueberry Major. It is their Pilsner, and you'll never guess what fruit is in this Pilsner. It is 5.1%, and it is absolutely perfect for this 9 million degree day that we are having today.
It's super hot. Mm-hmm. It's really, really, really hot.
I don't like it.
Everybody, I want you just be safe out there. Stay hydrated.
Yes.
Stop in over at BC's Bottle Lodge, Montgomery, our gracious host, BC's Bottle Lodge, Montgomery, where you can get Blueberry Major and 513.
Sam Adams 513.
That's right, and Sam Adams 513. We're here with a pretty bustling BC's Bottle Lodge. Nice turnout.
Marco, I hate to interrupt you, but guess who just walked in the
No,
door?
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's the Cintas guy.
So this place is going to be smelling fresh.
Oh, it's going to be smelling amazingly fresh.
In a few moments.
Oh, my God.
The timing could not have been better.
Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting.
So, Marco, let's what do you say we start with Cincy Brewcast? Since we have two episodes of Shift Beers to cover, let's save those for the end, since that'll be kind of a longer segment.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and go over all that Gnome had to offer us this week, which really wasn't a lot.
Wasn't too much.
No, it wasn't too much.
He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of irons in the fire. Mm-hmm. And, the first iron in the fire that he always brings up is his children,
yes.
which is understandable. And his other job, which is
not so understandable.
I don't understand. I don't understand why he has that job anyways. Just lean into it, Gnome. Do what you love. He loves what he does. But anyways, we're gonna start.
Let's just go over the Weekly Pint first, because that'll be, I think, a little quicker, because it was a shorter Weekly Pint. It is not a show.
No, but
it is just hanging out, having a beer on a Monday night.
And it's fresher in our minds.
Yes, very fresh.
So, and that's going to play a part in today's episode. We're finding that we might need to take notes as we take
we listen to some of these shows, especially ones that come out later in the week after we record,
Right.
so that they're fresh for the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But we'll get to that. I think the main focus for the Weekly Pint this week was this round of his Oktoberfest showdown.
yes, it was. It started right from the get-go. And when you have that many Oktoberfest beers that you have to get through, you got to do it. You got to just get in there. Got to have them. You match them up, one versus the other. Yesterday, the matchups were.
You got to pronounce this right, Marco.
Wienermobile.
We have got to. There you go.
From 50 West, and then Brewer from Northern Row.
Yes.
I hope everyone has the chance to get their hands on those beers. They both looked like very delicious beers. One was far lighter in color than the other.
Yep.
And so you're going to have to figure that one out. Either you're going to have to go and watch the recap of the Weekly Pint, or you're going to have to pick yourself up some of these beers, which I am in favor of you doing. Pick up the beer, drink the beer. Since it's not a show, do we say who moves on?
Let's go ahead, and for the show that's not a show, I say we go ahead and let everyone know who won that round. But if they want to know who's winning the other, I don't want to call them bigger rounds because they're on, quote-unquote bigger platforms like Instagram Live or YouTube. I'd say that for Weekly Pint, the show that is not a show, let's go ahead and spoil it for everyone because there's still plenty to
there's
listen
so
to.
much. But there's plenty to listen to, but also there's so many more beers he's got to get through. I mean, it's a daunting task. Somebody's got to do it, I guess, and he has volunteered himself to take on this challenge. And so for those of you, if this is your first time listening to Truth, Beer, and Consequences, or if you don't listen to the other shows that we're covering, so the Gnarly Gnome, who is a Cincinnati beer font of information on all the socials. He is doing a V contest. So each packaged Cincinnati craft
Oktoberfest
beer versus another
Cincinnati
it's a head-to-head
Oktoberfest beer, right?
Yeah, it's a head-to-head competition. So he's going to get closer and closer to the end, and he's going to make this far more complicated because he said yesterday there's going to be a magic introduction or reintroduction of a beer that he has moved on from, and said he's going to put all those beers that don't necessarily win the challenge, and he's going to.
So and again, they're not loser beers because they're all fantastic beers, but
Right.
the beers that did not make it to the next round, he has decided that somehow, and who knows, maybe the listeners will be involved in deciding which of those beers comes back
Maybe.
into the bracket, which I think is going to be pretty cool. He did mention that there is one wild card beer in the showdown.
Right, and could possibly be a national beer or an international beer.
I'm very curious to see what he has up his sleeve for that one. Up his adventure flannel sleeve for that one.
That's right. I have one of those.
I don't have any of the flannels. I do have a couple of the
Well,
lacy
it's not a
jackets.
flannel. It's an adventure hoodie. I
Yep,
have a hoodie.
yep, same.
Are you going to see Zane next month?
I don't have tickets because I don't really listen to Zane. I just like his clothing line. So it's kind of I don't
I'm
know.
going to be there.
Cool. I feel like
The
almost
gnome's gonna
everyone's
be
gonna
there.
I know.
Matt Damaris is going to be there.
Peer pressure. Is that what's
a little
happening
bit.
here? Damn it.
I could have Matt and the gnome apply a little peer pressure.
You're going to have Matt talk to his wife to talk to me
That's
at
right.
work. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And unless you listen to Truth Beer Pod, it's not meant to be an inside joke. Julia works.
I literally work with Matt Damaris' wife across the hallway from me. And speaking of, just to kind of take a slight detour away from the Gnomes podcast this week, we had talked about the live Hustle and Brew show at Fretboard and how we weren't sure if it was recorded. We didn't know who was all going to have had the chance to listen to it if they weren't there live. Chanel, his wonderful, wonderful wife, did let me know that it was recorded. He's working on getting everything edited down and ready for your ears. And so keep an eye out for Hustle and Brews live at Fretboard, the recorded session.
So over under the show notes being 1,000 characters.
I'm going for over.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
We'll see. can't wait for that to come out. It was a ton of fun. It was great to hang out with everybody that was there and enjoy the Monday night live podcast at Fretboard. And again, if this is your first time listening to Truth Beer and Podsequences, thank you. The Fretboard Brewing here in Blue Ash does a live podcast recording every Monday. And, if it's something, if you follow them on the socials, you can see if maybe one of your favorite podcasts is going to be on. And I strongly encourage going and supporting not just your podcast, but also Fretboard Brewing for providing that opportunity for the podcast to have some fun and do something that might be a little bit outside of what they normally do.
Right.
So back to the Weekly Pint.
Yeah. Was there much else? He didn't have any labels that he had. Well, he had one label that he showed.
Yeah,
which was
and he apologized.
An amazing label. But that's okay. That means that we get more next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Also, if you want kind of a little sneak peek at potential labels for potential beers that are coming out from local breweries, because not all labels end up becoming distributed and packaged beers. These are concepts of, hey, we're thinking about making this. If it works out and if we distribute, here's the label that we're planning to stick on that can, on that bottle, the keg collar we're going to use. So you can definitely get some sneak peeks on what's up and coming in the Cincinnati craft brewing world by checking out the Weekly Pint Mondays on Facebook. It's also streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Normally starts between 9 and 9:30, typically closer to 9, but depending on what else is going on with the Gnome, sometimes a little closer to 9:30, but check it out.
Yeah, and the Weekly Pint, he mentions, and we've mentioned over and over, it's not a show. It's more meant to be a happy hour of sorts where he has a drink. He wants everyone to post in the comments what they're drinking, and we can all have
a drink together.
Yeah. The majority of the show after the Oktoberfest showdown centered around the particulars of his vacation.
Yes.
So
sound like it's going to be a really nice trip.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic trip. And so anybody who's looking to follow the Gnome on his trip, you can go back and listen to the Weekly Pint and pretty much understand where he's going to be over the course of that vacation. And I strongly encourage anybody who has the free time, PTO time, to put in the time and then just show up wherever the Gnome is going to be with his family and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd love that.
He would love that.
His wife would love that.
I'm sure.
His kids will probably be terrified, but that's all right.
They'd be fine. They'd be fine. Really is great that he is going to get to go do the activities and spend the time with his family. He works every week to keep you informed on what's happening in the Cincinnati beer community, craft beer community, and so enjoy your time, Gnome. He's even so committed that he might do the Weekly Pint from the passenger seat of his car.
That's dedication right there.
Or a hotel room if he's at a hotel on Monday night.
Or the beach.
Or
if he's on the
beach. So look out for that. Get over and support all of the entities and the the things that the Gnarly Gnome is doing. Certainly we appreciate the support he's given to Truth Beer and Podsequences. So yeah, that was pretty fun. That was a fun Monday night. I always enjoy Monday nights.
It's always great. I definitely look forward to it. My Josh always does if I don't have a beer in front of me when it starts, he's like, what are you doing? You don't have a beer? And then I tell him, well, you should bring me one so I don't miss a minute of the action. And he's picked out some pretty good ones for me. So that's kind of our new little Monday night routine.
Well, that was fun. What were you drinking last night?
I was drinking... Oh, I know. I was having my very last can of West Side's Pineapple Goza.
Okay, very good.
And then Gnome had to jab me in the ribs saying, I still have a can left. Kind of rude. I'm jealous.
Well, maybe he meant that in the sense of, I'd be happy to share it with you the next time we are at the same place.
Next time he's not drinking Oktoberfest beers.
I'm sure that's really what he meant.
He's going to be carrying it around with him in a cooler everywhere he goes in case we run into it.
Yeah, he's going to hold on to it so you can experience that with him.
I'm glad that you picked up on that because that's not how I took it, and I was horribly mistaken. So, Gnome, I apologize for the angst. You had no idea I was projecting at the screen when you said that.
Well,
and I appreciate and accept your sharing of that delicious, delicious beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job, Gnome. Way to go, buddy.
What a guy.
So now,
Should we move on to Cincy Brewcast, or was there anything else about the Weekly Pint that you feel needs to be said?
Matt Damaris was fasting.
He fasts on Mondays.
Is it just Mondays?
It's just Mondays.
He did tell me that.
Yeah. So he can't join us in drinking on the Weekly Pint, and during the only time he did not, he did break his fast when
It was
Hustle and Brews
for the
was
live
the
show.
Monday live
I mean,
show.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to eat hot chocolates and hot peppers on an empty stomach.
no, absolutely not.
No.
Okay, yeah, so let's move on to Cincy Brewcast.
Yeah, Cincy Brewcast. Let me pull up the show notes.
Please do,
which are
Julia.
almost as long as Matt Damaris' show notes. Well, Hustle and Brew show notes. I'll be specific. The Outcast podcast has fairly condensed show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So Cincy Brewcast, August to October 23rd. Good Lord. August 23rd.
Where's the year going?
I'm telling you. This week is a big one for the folks at the Casual Pint in Hamilton. And as you know from how many times I found myself recording shows in Hamilton in the last few months, I'm in love with the city and how hard it is working to turn their downtown area into a destination for folks all across Cincinnati. They were recording a Casual Pint during their anniversary celebration. They talk about Warped Wing opening up a location in Mason. And Andy Foltz joined to co-host again. Andy was almost a regular on the show.
He was.
Quite
He was a regular.
while ago. You know, as life happens. But
He vanished.
He vanished. He's back. He's talking about all things, not just Casual Pint, but all things Hamilton, all things Warped Wing. And let's see, what did they drink? Well, they obviously had an Oktoberfest. They had Woots from Christian Moorline. And then they had a beer that I believe was only at Casual Pint for their anniversary. Sonder released a strawberry jalapeno record hop.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
That sounds quite good. I think they said it was at the Sonder Tap Room and then at Casual Pint in Hamilton.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd that style of IPA plus jalapeno or any sort of pepper, I'd be down to trying it.
See, they had me wanting it until they said there really wasn't a lot of heat to it. I don't like the green taste of peppers, and hopefully that makes sense, but just like kind of that.
Sure.
I don't want to taste the pepper. I want the spice from it. I want some of that jalapeno flavor, but not the green part of it.
Last year, I did a habanero IPA, so it was a West Coast IPA, and we added habanero extract to it. I didn't do any fancy stuff like age it over habaneros. It was more of a...
That's for next time.
Maybe. It was more of a, hey, let's see how this goes. And man, it was so good. But it was, it had some heat. Mm-hmm. It brought the heat, but it was, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
My favorite spice, and when I say spicy, I mean like hot beer, is the variant of Toll House that Fibonacci releases, with Carolina Reapers, British Carolina Reapers.
Fibonacci did a beer last year that was, what was it called? Strawberry Salsa?
Yes.
That was great.
That was very good.
That was so good.
That was really good.
I need to get that if they ever do it again.
And do it,
Oh, that would be so good.
Yes,
I had 2 bottles of
agree.
that. I took one to the brewery for to share with the guys over at Cellar Dweller, and I had one at home, and I almost cried when I finished drinking it because
you
there
didn't have
there
any
wasn't
more.
any more.
I think the main takeaway that I got from this episode of Cincinnati Brewcast is
How chill Andy Foltz was. He was just
so there
like
are 2 things. Yeah,
he was just
very,
he was very dude chill.
very like nothing really got him. You could tell that he was incredibly passionate about what he was talking about.
Yeah, but he
But
just
man, he was a chill ass dude.
Yeah, he was chill. It was good to hear him on the show again, though.
It really
for
was,
anybody
yeah.
who is a longtime listener of the show, it sounded like it sounded like an old friend came back.
Well, it was. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
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 But my other takeaway for the show is Gnome lives in Hamilton now and just didn't tell anyone.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right. He's just
he
just
lives there
walk
now.
on over the Casual Pint.
First, he gets some chicken in a waffle cone, and then he walks over to Casual Pint or Pinball Garage or Fretboard or Municipal, and that'd be his home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he got all that car repair done a few weeks ago, because with having to drive
The 5 minutes.
outside of, drive the 5 minutes to all the places in Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's important.
So speaking of Hamilton, apparently Hamilton loves Country Boy.
Yes, that was another revelation from the show, that Hamilton loves Country Boy, and Andy Foltz loves leaning into the fact that Hamilton loves Country Boy, and they have some really good partnerships. Apparently, Country Boy had provided some umbrellas. I haven't been there, so I couldn't say, but Andy said they provided some umbrellas, which is great for enjoying. I guess they have an outside area.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I drove when I worked up in Westchester. I drove past it once on my lunch break.
Intentionally?
Just to see where it
okay,
was. Because I'm like, you know what? There's a location up here. Let me see if I can find where it is. And drove past. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll need to stop in here sometime. And then I didn't work up in Westchester anymore, so that opportunity kind of lapsed. And as much as Gnome would complain about, driving halfway across the globe to go to Hamilton, he's not coming from the west side. He has nothing to complain about as far as looking at the commute to Hamilton.
I felt like I was driving to Asia
Yeah.
the one time, maybe it was 2 times. I don't remember. No, it was probably just one time. I felt like it was, hey, go that way and just keep going.
Yeah. It's not hard to get to. You just feel like, surely I missed a turn somewhere because I should have been there by now. No, just keep going. You'll see it.
Yep.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, it sounds like they're doing some great stuff up there. I definitely need to get up to that area. It's just not as easy, especially when it's this hot out.
I know, it's really hot. I mean, it's on the list. I could see myself getting
fall.
there. It sounds like fun, and I'm glad all of that energy and rejuvenation is happening in the area. It's exciting. With businesses comes opportunities in all different forms, opportunities to be a patron of the business, opportunities to be a somebody that supports the business, maybe by working there and providing a good experience. So that's all fantastic. And there's going to be more. There's more development coming to Hamilton, which is just going to really keep
continue
this
to grow that area out.
Keep this growth going.
Do you think that eventually Hamilton will overtake Fairfield? Like it'll just slowly absorb it into its lower belly? Something to think about.
Yeah.
So speaking of new development and bringing a new business, Warped Wing is coming to Mason.
Yes, and
which is another kind of a drive. Not as bad as Hamilton, but...
No, and I mean, not too far from me, not too far from here for you.
Correct, but from my home location on the west side, best side, it's a bit of a haul, especially if you drive to or from during some of the peak traffic times.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be a pain, but I'm excited about it. I think that they'll do well in that location. I ate there once when it was the Brazen Hog?
It was Brazen Head.
Brazen Head.
It was Brazen
Close
Head,
enough.
then it was Basil's.
Yeah.
And then Basil's for about 2 years.
And then it was nothing.
Yeah. They had... So Basil's was looking for a brewer. They wanted to put a brewery in.
Okay.
And I guess they went as far as purchasing some fermenters.
Nice.
And the fermenters sat, all of 2020
no.
outside that building.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So does that mean, and I don't know if anyone really knows this yet or not, I'm sure some people know it, but does that mean that Warped Wing will probably be actually brewing beer at that location?
In the article that I read, Warped Wing planned on having a small brewery in what's essentially the basement.
So they can technically be called a Cincinnati brewery.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know a guy who
forward to it.
brews kind of in a basement.
So the last thing that I kind of wanted to touch on, which I thought was really interesting, and I never really thought about it before, but it kind of makes sense, is the kind of new big question. Are seltzers and ciders kind of killing off sours and the drive for people to get sour beers.
So Andy did bring that up, and the gnome was happy to oblige the conversation.
Right. I see exactly where Andy's coming from, because a lot of people that enjoy sours like them because they don't necessarily taste like beer per se. Like it's a different palate experience. But it's a different way to experience, a fermented beverage. Do I think seltzers and ciders are overshadowing them and kind of taking their place? Not necessarily. I just think that these sour programs in the city, even though there are more of them than you would realize, I think everyone's so used to seeing them that they're almost overlooking them anymore because they're always there, if that makes sense. Where there's always a new cider, kind of a new cider that's sort of on the lower end, right now because it's summer. But I don't know.
Cider, the boom and trajectory of seltzer was
astonishing.
I mean, it was just extremely steep. Like it shot out. It shot out like just crazy. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But what's happening, I think, is that if you're a person, really what I think is that we're not talking about the craft beer drinker, really. I mean, the lanes, say, left lane, right lane, middle lane. If somebody is in the middle lane and they drink craft beer, they're going to drink sours. And they're going to drink all of the different styles of craft beer that they're able to drink based off of...
Probably even try some seltzers and the like.
Maybe
if
so.
They're made by, local craft breweries.
Move to the left-hand fast lane to get around somewhere else. Maybe I try this, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But what we're really talking about are the people who are just casual craft beer drinkers. And yeah, if I'm at this place, I'll have this. Or these are people who flirt with craft beer and flirt with sours, not really people that lean into that type of stuff.
That makes sense.
That's what I think, honestly. Because to me, if that's your thing and you like it, then having a seltzer is not replacing that from a flavor profile for you.
It's just an alternative every now and then when you're like, sure, I'll see what this is all about.
And maybe the fact that they are available, they're all over the place, you can get them, you show up to people's, get-togethers and they have them. Yeah, maybe you have more because of the availability and convenience. But it's not overtaking. No, I don't think what you're doing is, two folks that go into a casual pint and one person likes wine and might try a sour and the other person, drinks craft beer and would have a sour anyway. I don't think they're having a seltzer in place of a wine or a sour.
No, okay, that makes sense. I would agree with that.
I just don't think so.
I thought it was a really interesting question that was brought up, and it was also brought up briefly in Shift Beers as well. Like people were asking, they're having their Cider-Palooza this weekend.
Yes.
And apparently their
was that this weekend?
I think so. I think it's the 28th.
Okay.
But they were asking, are you can bring back your cider? Where's your cider? How come you don't have your cider? And it was, with the shutdowns, with everything going on, they would have had to have bought a year and a half's worth of cider at once, and it's just not available right now. But they are planning on doing what they can to get that back. So
that was incorporating a little bit of the second episode of Shift Beers into our conversation of the Cincy Brewcast, which is absolutely fine. It's okay because we listen to these things and we hope all of you listen to the shows and enjoy them and get out of them, your own takeaways.
Right.
But that is certainly true. I mean, with the state of business right now, businesses are having to make decisions, and their business decided the right decision for them at that time was to
focus on what they have available to them and what is selling.
Yeah, really, and I get it, and that's why Shift Beers even talked an episode or two ago that they don't have any beer in cans.
Right.
And they're struggling to keep the seltzer stocked.
Right. Because that's all that people want. Which, I mean, great for them that they are making a product that is selling the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it was a beer and not a seltzer, even though Astra is delicious. But, yeah, good for them.
To bring
Good
it
for
kind
them.
of back around to some of
Yes.
the earlier conversation, we talked about Warp Wing going into Mason. I was at the Barrel House in Springboro 2 weekends ago, and Red Cream Soda from March 1st was on tap.
Oh, that's cool.
At Warp Wing.
Warp Wing, that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Was there anything else that we needed to touch on for Cincy Brewcast other than the fact that Gnome lives in Hamilton? And you know what we need? We need a show that is Gnome, Olivia, and Andy Foltz.
Oh,
And maybe Brian from BC's. Can you imagine
wow, that'd be fun.
the ruckus that show would be?
Maybe what we could do is we could host here at BC's Bottle Lodge, Montgomery. Our producer Kenny's here.
Mm-hmm.
He's been, producing from the start of the show today.
Doing a great job, except for when he
Maybe we
forgets to
could
push the buttons.
plan an all-day event where just podcasts like come in and they take their own turn, like they have their slots, and that could be one of the slots of a new show that comes out. I don't know, Podcastalooza or something like that. I don't know, Podpalooza.
We'll see what we can make happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
Maybe it'd be fun. I don't know.
All right, well,
Fun
what do
for
you
us, I
say?
don't know.
Fun for us. Not sure about fun for you guys, but
Yeah.
it could work. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be fun. It could be fun. It'd be fun. We could have
All right.
Red Cream Soda on tap or something.
Yes, that'll be the new hipster handle. All right, well, what do you say we refill our glasses, take a little break, refill our glasses, and then get into double shift beer episodes?
Yeah, we should do that.
All right, let's do it. We'll be right back, guys.
Ring, 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 banana phone.
And we are back. Thank you so much for waiting those few seconds in your time, the few minutes in our time for us to rejoin you. We get to talk about 2 episodes of Shift Beers.
Excited.
It is very exciting.
I'm excited.
The first episode, I need to stop saying The first episode that we're going to cover,
Absolutely.
episode 45, they covered, we haven't said many of those in this episode.
No, we haven't.
We've actually been pretty good.
We could do some catching up.
We absolutely could.
Yes.
But let's not force it.
No, it's
Let's
got to
let
be
it happen
organic. It's
naturally.
got to be natural. Absolutely.
So the first episode we're going to talk about was an episode that we didn't cover last week because Josh was on vacation and didn't publish the episode in time for us to record. So we're going to be covering that episode as well as the episode released yesterday to us, who knows when in the past to you.
Right.
But the first episode, they covered International Beers of Mystery. So to honor that, we have 2 international beers in front of us that
do.
we're going to try
yes.
while we talk.
So the first one, so the 2 that we have are both from the same brewery, St. Bernardus.
Or is it Bernardus?
Or is it Burn
Arduous.
Arduous?
Pronunciation is key on this podcast.
Yeah. This is a Belgian Trappist brew and Abbey Ale. And it's got, the creepy monk with the horseshoe,
Very
on his
creepy.
head. See the horseshoe there?
Yeah. So I went to Catholic grade school.
So did I.
Did you? Okay. Did you ever worry about, did you have nuns?
Oh, yeah.
Any
My
of the
principal was a nun.
Okay.
My English teacher in 3rd grade was a nun.
In high school, I had a principal for a nun. Let's try that again.
Yeah, how about
I had a nun for a
Principal.
principal, and there were a couple other nuns that were some of the administrators, and a couple of the teachers were. The only people of clergy when I was in grade school were just part of the church diocese that was right next to the school, so they would come over for some of the religious classes sometimes, but they weren't super involved as far as grade school went for me. So I really don't have any fear of nuns. My mom had a lot of nuns when she was in school and got her knuckles rapped by rulers a couple times. So good times. Apparently.
Yeah, I went Catholic grade school and freshman year Catholic school. Then after that, I was public school.
We can commiserate those years together.
Public school. So, yeah, creepy guy Belgian glass on
The only thing
the
not
on the
creepy
label.
about him is the beer that he's holding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's
crack this one
let's
open.
crack this open. Hopefully this
Hopefully the sound
hopefully-
translates.
hopefully it tastes better than the label looks. Because the label's creepy. You know what I mean?
I just noticed the other one has almost the exact same label art except for the color of the beer in the glass.
Oh.
Ooh, she foamy.
That's good.
She foamy. This is
That's
starting
good. It's
off
all
incredibly
natural.
well.
It's all
These
natural
literally-
fermentation. and-
These literally moved, these bottles moved like maybe 20 feet from being in a cooler for who knows how long. They were carried over to the bar so that our amazing producer Kenny could add them to our tabs, and then sat down on these tables, and they are, I mean, it's literally like a quarter beer and 3/4 foam.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to move the creepy monk in front.
creepy what?
Creepy monk.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Did you-
said it. Creepy motherfucker.
He is a creepy motherfucker now you say it.
He sure is.
All right, let's get a picture for these social medias, because, you know, that's how y'all know about us, right? Okay. All right, let's, I mean, there's so much foam. Do we need to talk about shift beers before we can even attempt to drink this?
Yeah, we could do that. We could talk a little bit about shift beers before we go into that. So, Shift Beers, episode 45, International Beers of Mystery. This week, we unleash our inner Austin powers and broke out our International Beers of Mystery. Every beer we tried came from outside of the United States. Josh was gone, but we gained a Wes, and we all talked about the first time we got drunk. Tune in for good times. The
So
International Beers,
Yeah.
they had a couple beers. I mean, one of the beers was a beer, like, I think it's actually this beer, this St. Bernardus Abbey Ale. And then they had Sam Smith's Oatmeal Porter. I think they had Sam Smith's
The
Strawberry.
Yeah.
And
Which apparently tasted like a strawberry candy, so I am going to keep my eyes open for that one.
yeah, I can't say I've seen it, but I'll keep my eyes open for it too. Actually, I had that Sam Smith's Oatmeal Stout 2 Saturdays ago.
Nice. So almost right in line with the shift beers, folks.
Yeah, almost. It was good, and what I liked about it was it was a stout. It was a nice, just flavorful stout, and the body of it was not ridiculously thick because this is an old school Sam Smith oatmeal stout. I mean, they didn't need to put lactose and marshmallow fluff in it or anything. I mean, you got your stout ingredients and you got some oats, and that's what you use to round out the bitterness from the hops. And it was a tasty beer. I
Nice.
enjoyed it.
Good.
And, yeah.
The biggest thing for me for this episode of Shift Beers is Beth ran the entire episode.
Yes.
She took over the spaceship podcast equipment that Josh apparently sabotaged. You can hear Beth talking about that on the show. I don't want to say exactly what Josh did or did not do to it. Beth, you did an absolutely phenomenal job. I loved listening to it. I almost didn't notice that Josh wasn't there.
I listened to it twice. And I'll tell you why I listened to it twice is because yesterday I felt like it had been so long since I listened to it.
I got a shock on my lip when I drank this.
Did
How
you?
the hell is that possible?
I don't know. It's a plastic cup. Do you think there was static electricity? Or do you think it was the
guess.
beer?
I think it's the beer. This beer is shocking.
Shocking.
Anyway, sorry. It was
How
just
did it
one of those-
taste?
I didn't get enough of it.
Oh.
It startled me so much that I'm like, what the hell is happening? This isn't bad. I would drink a whole bottle or two.
No,
Of
it's
this?
it's a fine
Yeah, I
beer.
like
It's
it.
tasty. It's a Belgian beer, but it's not over the top in the Belgian yeast characteristic
Right.
that
yeah.
can be for some off-putting.
Right.
Beer's fine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably hella old. There's a date of 7/11/24.
So probably a Best Buy.
Probably an enjoy buy, but I mean, I don't know how the hell to determine how old the beer is or how fresh the beer is.
Yeah, unless there's an actual date on it somewhere, which there probably was a date on the box or the crate or whatever that it came in.
No, but it's a fine beer. It's certainly leaps and bounds better than that Trejo beer.
Oh my God, that one got worse and worse the more
it was so bad.
It was terrible. Why?
It was so bad.
I want to say thank you for bringing it for the experience, but I don't know if I want to thank you for that one. It was bad. That may have been one of the worst beers that I've ever had. It's definitely up there.
I mean, it's on the list,
Down there.
but it's the worst beer I've had. I mean, clearly in the past several months.
Yeah.
I mean, for me.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt like I was going somewhere with what I was talking about, and now I forget where I was going. Happens on a craft beer podcast.
It kind of does. Get a few of these in you, and you just don't know what's happening anymore.
They also they drank some. Was it ginger beer?
Yeah, because they talked about it.
I listened to it twice because it was so long since I heard the episode, and I'm getting ready for the show, and I couldn't remember a darn thing. I was like, shoot, do you know how many beers it's been since I listened to that show?
Shit beers, yeah.
I don't remember any of that. So
yeah, because it was released after the normal. Did it come out on Tuesday, like late in the day on Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it came out on Wednesday.
it came out after we finished recording.
Yes,
And
so we had an entire
it was
week.
late.
Yeah, we had an entire week to forget about it.
Yeah.
We listened to it, and as all the episodes are, it was a lot of fun, but too long between recording sessions.
It was late too. Like I want to say it was 10 or 10:30 when it finally posted. Or whatever.
So what I learned from that is that Josh procrastinates on editing podcast episodes even worse than I do.
So they tape usually on a tape. I did it again.
You old
God,
man.
I'm so old.
They
I'm so
record.
old.
It's fine. Everyone knows what you mean.
They record on usually Wednesday, and the next show that we're going to talk about after we finish this one, that one was recorded on a Friday, and Josh wasn't really all keen on that idea because he would have to
His editing, I'll say schedule in
Yeah,
in air
because of
quotes
his
for those
editing
you not
schedule.
on the live stream.
and yet his editing schedule didn't change. Just the day of the podcast.
Yeah, so I don't know what he was complaining about.
Yeah, so ginger beer. And
Beth went to all the 9 Giant locations, the
All of
fermentorium,
them.
and their
100%.
normal location. 100% every single one of their locations. And she managed to stumble upon a thing happening when they went to 9 Giant that they didn't know was happening. But it was a good thing.
It was Kenny Loggins' concert.
I mean, I don't know how no one knew that was, or how I guess
I didn't know.
You didn't
I don't know how I didn't
I knew.
know.
I just didn't go.
Kenny Loggins' concert.
Yeah.
In that danger zone.
That was pretty cool. That would be a fun thing to stumble into.
Yeah. I bet Chris was upset he missed out on that.
You know what? Chris upset me in this episode.
Okay, go ahead. Hold on a second. You need some room? I'm going to give you some room.
I might need to flip a table or two because Chris apparently got his beers not from BC's Bottle Lodge Montgomery.
Oh, yeah, this guy.
Yeah. He says that he is committed to, supporting his favorite, watering holes and his favorite, bottle shops and all that. And then he goes and buys this week, that week's, last week's, whatever week's.
I don't know how much I'm
beers
gonna
somewhere else.
Julia, you know I clock time here, right? I'm like I
yeah, you're practically an employee.
Practically. I've never seen Chris here. Ever.
No.
Never,
So
ever,
does he
ever
really
seen Chris.
buy his beer here? Or are they just saying that?
I don't know. Maybe he sends someone to buy them for him.
That could be it. He has someone. Why would he have someone mule beers from BC's Bottle Lodge?
He's a busy man.
5 minutes up the street. Is he though?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have to perpetuate that, I would imagine. But yeah, never seen you here, Chris. Chris, you ever here? Hit me up.
Yeah, show up.
Let me know. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, never see you.
Nope. Marco lives in the back room. He would know if you're here. I will say that before Josh left for vacation, they did a killer job on the Brian buns for this episode.
Maybe that's why I don't want to give that little nugget of the show away, but maybe attention was put on that so that the attention in other areas may have waned a little bit. But yeah, the Brian Button had really good interaction. It was really well thought out.
Yeah.
The choreography there. They probably had some dry runs.
They would have
some
had
run
to
throughs
for like the timing of pushing the button about how Brian was smoking ribs and ended up leaving them on the smoker for almost 36 hours. Like the timing of that button being hit and the reactions to all of that. They had to practice that. It was too good.
Yeah.
And seriously, who leaves ribs on a smoker for 36 hours because they forget and just go out drinking with their friends?
Yeah.
Besides us, I guess, maybe sometimes.
Well, there was that one time.
Yeah, there was the one time. Though I did learn something about an incident that happened in my past that apparently has come to light
Oh, yeah.
because of shift beers. And I don't know if they meant to admit to this in a recorded format or not.
This is kind of a big deal.
It really is. So years ago, years and years ago, there was, and I never knew what happened, but there was a situation at my house where it was middle of winter. It was incredibly cold. I got up one morning and my front door was completely destroyed. There was like this white, foamy stuff all over. I had no idea what was happening. Found out later, it was shaving cream. Someone had put it on the door. Absolutely destroyed. I had to buy a new front door. Those are not cheap.
So
No one associated with us or with kind of the craft beer industry, with the other podcasts, with our friends, that do this, I've never told that story to anyone. So there was no way that they would have known unless Brian was directly involved, as he seemingly admitted to.
the created character, Brian.
But I'm just going to say that as the whoever Brian is.
So what do you hand out at Halloween?
Full-size Snicker bars. Yeah. So there was no excuse for it.
Very
no
strange.
excuse. So
That's unfortunate, Julia.
So I may
and it's in the
have to-
past.
It is in the past. It's one of those. I've moved on, but just hearing that story again from
Have you moved on?
maybe.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know now. I know that it wasn't meant to destroy my door, but God damn it, Brian! Seriously, that was like $500. That wasn't cheap.
Yeah. That's like what he spends at 450 North on a beer release.
He is totally a 450 North guy. Yeah.
What else you got?
there's-
Wes?
When Wes came into the show, and again, apologies, it's been quite a while since the show aired, and we had to record
It's
about
been
it.
almost 5 weeks since they released it.
I'm telling you, slackers all around. The real magic of this episode happened when Wes showed up. Leading up to that, it was almost business talk. I almost felt like you were listening to some random, fretboard TV episode or something, where it was just kind of very dry, very, oh, I drank this and then I drank that and this was good, this wasn't good. And then Wes showed up and lit up the room.
Yeah, it's like, it's just one of those people when just they show up and everything just changes, Just one of those party people. Everything just
You can't
pops.
explain everything. You can't explain exactly what changes, but the fact that they are now present in the room, in the conversation, I don't know.
He told a story where everybody was getting drunk in a parking lot before a Fish concert to Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout.
That's badass.
I mean,
They
didn't think that was going to come out when Wes joined them.
No, but it did. That's kind of what Shift Beers does. The stories that you don't think you're going to tell, like putting shaving cream all over my front door, end up coming out.
And then they shared a Smirnoff Ice as a bonus.
It was kind of a rite of passage, I felt, for Wes. Like, kind of a, hey, we want you to be part of this crew, but in order to be part of this crew, you're getting iced. One thing that they didn't bring on the show, though, and I do want to cover this real quick before we move into the next episode, the burp count.
Yeah, the burp count is weak.
It was lacking.
Weak sauce.
It was incredibly lacking.
Weak sauce.
I was only able to count 17 burps, I think it was.
Well, then you got one more than I did. I counted 16. That's lame-ass burp count.
Barely more than 2 pints of beer. That is 2.12 pints of beer.
Sad.
Over the hour-long episode.
Hey, Shift Beers, do better.
Well, funny you should say that, because the very next episode that we'll cover here in a minute, they did much better. But again, before we move on to the next episode, huge shout out to Beth for running the soundboard, for handling everything.
Let us know if you ever want to come run
ours. It's literally 2 buttons.
It's
not even a spaceship.
For
I don't
us.
know. It's like one of those. Do you remember when you were a kid, the kits with the planes that was just like 2 pieces of styrofoam,
like balsa wood? Oh, styrofoam.
Yeah. It was like the wings and the body of the plane, and you just like stuck them together, and then you threw it in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we have. So Beth, anytime we
have to crank it before we use it.
It's interesting. We'll just say, but you're more than welcome to push our buttons, Beth. We have another beer.
Yeah, and we have another show. Okay, let's open this beer. Another beer from St. Bernardus. This is
St. Bernardus.
Bernardus.
Pronunciation.
St. Bernardus.
Pronunciation is the name of the game.
This one says, the date on it is 13/09/22.
So 9/13/22. Which, again, I'm assuming is the enjoy by date, because that's the future.
Assuming. Yeah.
What if these are monks from the future?
Whoa.
And this is their beer.
Whoa. Hold on, I'm going to do an Owen Wilson impression. You ready?
Do it.
Wow.
That was so spot on. Wow. I had to look around to see if Owen Wilson was actually in the room with us.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Bring it. All right, let's crack open.
All right, let's crack this open. All right.
And this is a Tripoli. That's a game, isn't it? Oh my God, this one is foamy as fuck too. What the hell's going on with this?
Yeah. It's how it happens in nature, Julia.
Oh, is that so?
I don't know. Maybe.
I've never come across a beer
I
spring
know,
in nature, but we'll go with it. So while we wait for the 15 feet of foam to die down on this, Shift Beers episode 45.
Do it.
The Last Seltzer Show. Or is it?
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know why it'd be the last one. They seem to have a lot of fun with it.
They really do.
This episode, unlike our taping today, was full of energy from the very beginning. And I said taping again. God damn, I'm so old.
I'm telling you.
So it was full of energy from the very beginning. It was clear that they were going to lean into the show and just dig into the topic.
Do you think
and
some
have
of that
a lot
was
of fun.
Because Josh was back and the gang was back together?
I think that certainly played into it.
Yeah.
I really do. I'd like to think that when the OG team, when someone's missing and then they come back, it's
a different energy.
Yeah,
it is.
It is, but that energy is certainly translatable. It's infectious.
So welcome back, Josh, and thank you for editing and posting this show on your normal schedule
Finally.
for us.
I mean, this guy.
It's appreciated.
It is appreciated. Thank you.
So what part
I'm just saying, I mean, if you're going to put something out and you usually put it out on a specific day, then you know that when you're going on vacation. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
We're just saying.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When's your next vacation, Julia?
I have no idea.
Good. We can't
afford
We did
it.
not plan for that.
No. So one thing, speaking of Josh, one thing that we haven't heard in quite a while that I miss are Josh's Twisted Tea tips. I know they haven't necessarily had a Twisted Tea like on the show in a while, but I don't think that that's any excuse for them to not have, or for, I guess Josh specifically, to not have a Twisted Tea tip.
Yeah, go into it.
Yeah.
Tell them.
Yeah. I think I just did.
Oh, okay. Josh. Twisted Tea tip.
Jinx. So the seltzer show, they drank a lot of seltzers, which led to a lot of burps.
Congratulations.
So
Congratulations to the show.
You have broken your own record.
I mean, this show was a ton of fun. It was fun from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were playing this at work, like if you were listening to this at work, or if you were listening to it when you were in your car and you were maybe at a stoplight at some points, people probably were looking at you and wondering, what the hell is going on? How is this person having so much fun?
Yeah, there were multiple times I listened to it at work, and there were multiple times to where, I was stifling my laughter because, it's hard to explain what's happening to someone who's never listened to an episode before, and I just didn't want that kind of pressure. But
they come
very
straight
funny.
out of the gate.
Oh, they were 100 miles an hour from the
roaring.
gate.
I mean, the burps were flowing.
Yeah. So how many were there? Now, let's say their previous record was, I believe, 68 burps.
Yes. They did comment about that.
They wanted to hit that golden number, and you all know the golden number that we're talking about. There's no need to say that. I will say that they blew that. It was their goal to hit that golden number.
They weren't keeping track.
They started. They really did. They started keeping track at the beginning, but when you're drinking, as you know, the more you get into it, the less accurate you are when you're keeping track of things.
Stuff kind of gets away a little bit.
It does.
I mean, it can. It can get away a little bit.
So they did not hit their magic number.
No.
For the burp count.
No, they did not.
But what they did do was they blew away their old record and somehow managed to hit what I consider another golden number spot on. I don't know how they did it. It was just one of those perfect storms. Marco, how many burps were in this week's episode of Shift Beers?
Let's see. Julia. Oh, so they went at it hard. They went at it hard and heavy straight from the get-go. Mm-hmm. It was burps flying. You recapped it. They wanted that magic number, that number shot way past it. Congratulations to the Shift Beer folks. Right on the nose, 100 burps. 100.
Impressive.
Okay, drinking game. If you are doing the drinking game, and they even make mention of this, like, hey, if you're keeping up with us, we want to know, hit us up on Shift Beers, at Shift Beers on Twitter. And so, 200.
Or hit us up. At Truth Beer Pod.
At Truth Beer Pod. Yes, absolutely. And so, as we talked about in the previous episodes, and thank you for everyone who's listened to the previous episodes. So, on the burp count, an average swallow is going to be about 2 ounces, mm-hmm. right? So, 100 burps, 200 ounces, divided by 16 ounces for a pint. You're looking at 12.5 pints.
During that 1 hour episode.
Killed it. Crushed it.
Knocked it out of the park. I'm so proud of you guys. And I'm also hoping that no one was actually doing the drinking game and got themselves into serious trouble because we're about having
don't do
fun,
that and drive.
For sure.
Don't do that and use heavy machinery.
No.
Or, don't do that and
try to make big financial decisions or big life decisions.
Yes, correct. Big financial decisions, big life decisions. Don't do that and decide you're going to start a fire and grill. No. Like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to
put these ribs on the smoker.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to play the Shift Beers drinking game, the Shift Beers burp game.
Yep.
That's how ribs end up on the smoker for 30 plus hours, guys.
That's right.
That's how that happens.
I would love it if a fan of all of these shows would commit one day to hanging in there with it in a safe, responsible manner. For those people that are Patreons of Shift Beers and they're watching the live feed, if they could have like a split screen with the person who's actually doing the drinking game while the show's going on, and then, their Uber was taken care of by Patreon dollars or whatever.
But Marco,
yeah,
we could do it from BC's Bottle Lodge, Montgomery.
Oh yeah, we could.
We could do it.
We could.
Shift Beers, hit us up. We need to coordinate this.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm totally down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Other things on the episode, the drinking segment took up like almost half of the entire episode.
It did.
They drank so much.
They really brought it. And Josh, you know Josh was really sort of the leader there because he
was on vacation.
He
so
caught
he
us up on his vacation.
Yeah.
Apparently, he vacationed and went to one of these breweries where Chucky was filmed, and the brewery didn't change any of the rooms of the house that the boy and Chucky lived in, and so. You know, it was just this weird ambiance and experience.
They changed the basement because that's where all of the brewing equipment was. So they kind of had to make some changes.
Yeah, but I mean, the rest of it. All of the rooms of the house were still that same way.
There were still rooms of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Couches,
still that same way.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Which sounds like a really awesome idea for a brewery. I don't know. I think cleaning that would be a nightmare. I think the Cintas guy would have his job cut out for him, which, again,
shout out to the Cintas guy.
This place smells fresh.
It is
fresh. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. The amount of drinks that Josh drank while he was on vacation, it was impressive. It was awesome. I want to go to some of those places if ever I am down in the southern parts of the United States.
And I also got to thinking, so he was vacationing with, I guess, a few other folks. And, I mean, people do that. Adults do that. You vacation with, I'm on a vacation with these family members or that family members or whatever. But he would look for opportunities where maybe some of the other people were just chilling, watching TV or taking naps. I mean, you know how people, as they get older, sometimes they take naps.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go scoot out and I'm going to go catch a brewery, which circles us back to the Gnarly Gnomes vacation, where he's going to look for opportunities to scoot out and go do, some of his own,
so guys,
exploring.
You see how this all ties together. This is all one tiny little universe, just separated into a few little podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, even one of I went to Hocking Hills. I stayed in a cabin
I love
last year, and my kids were watching TV, playing video games, and my wife and I and son. My son's my brewery buddy.
Yeah.
Got out, went to Brewery 33, hung out for 2 beers. He had 2 sodas, and
it was a great time.
Went back home. It was a good time. It was a great time. But you got to find these times where you can sneak out and do some of these things.
So did you notice during this episode of Shipped Beers how much talk there was about Pog, the game? The game with the little cardboard discs that you hit with the big metal disc from like the 90s. At some point, they talked about Pog a lot, and I didn't know that any of them were old enough to really remember Pogs.
Yeah,
but they definitely threw that in there. So I never collected Pogs, but I thought it was a weird tie-in to the seltzers they were drinking.
Yeah,
but
it was strange.
Yeah, but hey, slammers.
I mean, whatever they used to like to do. I mean, sometimes
unless it's putting shaving cream on people's front doors.
Wow,
not cool.
Still hurts.
It does hurt. That wound has been reopened.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to hold a grudge, but it hurts.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Let it go. Let it. Never mind.
No.
I'm not going to do it.
Almost had Marco
Whoa.
out in song.
Hold on a second.
We came very close there, guys.
Oh, and from all the comments on Twitter, I mean, everybody was encouraging me. It was very encouraging.
I was trying to delete those comments as they cut through. I'm amazed you saw them.
It's funny because we both are able to look and interact in that way. And
new game.
No, they
Who's posting what?
Right. It's a new game. So, but yeah, I appreciate all the positive comments on my voice and the podcast, and I apologize to anybody who it's not their thing.
Whose ears are offended.
Whose ears are offended.
Yeah.
I would ask them to hold on and stick with us, and
maybe Marco will get some vocal lessons and things will just get better and better.
I'm hoping that their sort of tolerance for terrible just increases.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
So what else for this most recent episode of Shift Beers?
And clearly they discussed and we talked about it a little bit earlier, discussing cider, discussing seltzer, that sort of thing.
The availability is one overtaking. Yeah.
And it's a thing for them, and they're doing what their business needs to do, and clearly what the customers or their customers are wanting. And their customers at their tap rooms it's across the bar. But what they're moving is product in distribution. Right. So their customers are screaming for seltzer. So that's what they're moving.
Yeah. And they make some damn good seltzer. So here's what I'm wondering. So there's March 1st, there's Fig Leaf, there's Cincinnati Distilling. Soon there will be the Millcroft, which follow the Gnarly Gnome on YouTube and look at the video interview that he did with Josh doing a tour of the construction of the Millcroft on YouTube.
Yeah, it's about 17 minutes, but it is time well spent. That is going to be a hell of a facility. To call it a facility doesn't do justice.
Like mini campus.
It's going to be quite something. It's going to be amazing. I mean, and
so when are they going to put in like an Astra? Like Astra's one of the brands. When are they going to be putting in an Astra facility somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
That one of the guest houses is Fig Leaf or March 1st.
A seltzer facility, a seltzery.
A seltzery.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably next.
It has to be. There are no other choices.
I'd imagine.
Where else can they go?
I'd imagine they're probably looking for the facility to become a seltzery.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Seltzery.
It was a great show. It was a great show. They had so much fun. It was mostly the Georgia seltzers that Josh brought back. Which sound great. I mean, hopefully he saved a couple for us. I'm sure he did. We're tight like that. I'm sure he knows. Hey, Marco and Julia would love to try some of these. So we're just waiting. You know where to find us.
Let us know.
We're waiting patiently.
Yeah, we're here.
Still waiting. So what else you got?
Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm still waiting.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be here next time. It'll be fine.
Fun show. It was a really good show.
Car seats for roller coasters.
Yes.
You got to listen, but I'm on board with it.
The amount of safety precautions they put into car seats nowadays.
They'd be fine. The kid would be fine.
Yeah, kid would be fine. It's okay. What
do you think about
used to throw lawn darts when we were kids. I mean, you could be
the most unsafe sport in the world.
You can strap a kid into what is essentially like the same sort of harnesses that astronauts get strapped into, and the kids are going to be fine on these adventures.
What do you think of this triple? This
it's gone.
Saint Bernardus.
I drank it.
I liked it better than the ale.
So the color was much lighter. Hey Julia, guess the ABV.
13.
10. We just put 2 10% ABVers. It's fine. We're good. No,
we're being careful.
I think the Tripel did actually go down a bit easier, but I'm not surprised about that. Also to talk about the Belgian yeast characteristic, very light. It's again not offensive.
Right, not an overly yeasty beer to where I think that's actually a really approachable Belgian for someone who might not be super familiar with what the style is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, well, Marco, I think that our glasses are almost empty, so I think it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Cheers and
wrap it up.
Head on home.
Yeah, do our thing. So, I guess with school starting, summer changing, summer winding down, some of the podcasts are taking a little bit of time off. Unacceptable, except for the fact that it's totally acceptable.
We'll be here for you. when you get back.
Yeah, we'll be here
We're
for
not
you.
mentioning any names, Danny, but you know who you are.
Right. What have you been listening to? What are you listening to?
All the things. Except country.
Right. We don't need any of that. Said I missed Hall & Oates last night.
Well, thank you guys for joining us, as always, on this weekly recap of all things Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast. And really not just Cincinnati Craft Beer Podcast, but Cincinnati Craft Beer and Podcasts.
Correct.
Follow us on the Twitters at Truth Beer Pod. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know if you think that we need another not sponsor. We didn't have one for the show.
Yeah, we didn't have one today.
No.
There's a not sponsor.
We were
absent
by.
of not sponsors.
It'll be back, maybe.
I think it might show up.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely do all of those things. Share the show with your friends. Anybody in your contacts list that is not a friend, go ahead and share it with them too.
Yeah, and whoever is listening from the Netherlands, thank you for downloading an episode. Could be a VPN, but I thought that was cool. We
Awesome.
had a download from the Netherlands, so thank you.
That's great, and it might be because of that
That virus
weird,
on your computer.
that weird. They were drinking something weird where it was just on shift beers, where it's just like a gin and juice or
Sipping on gin and juice.
something.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
You got to get more music references in here. But thank you everybody for listening, and I appreciate your time. Everybody's time is valuable, just like I always assume everybody's dollar is hard earned. Your time is valuable. I appreciate you spending it with us here at Truth Beer Pod. Please support the podcasts that we listen to. Please support the businesses that they represent if they have a representing entity. Hey, come out to BC's Bottle Lodge, Montgomery, where, hell, I mean, if you can't find something to drink here, then
You're doing it wrong.
you're doing it wrong. All right, so Julia,
Marco,
next week,
Next week, same time, same place.
let's do it.
Let's
All right.
do it.